Welcome back to our show. We are currently doing a series of interviews with author Wayne Kuhn, the creator of Recharge Workshops, and a new addition to the world of self-help books. It's Time to Recharge. That's the name of the book. Wayne, in our last segment discussing the first chapter of this book, you shared with the audience how noticing that your computer was fully charged inspired a whole concept of recharging our power to increase sales and business opportunities. And you also talked about while education is important, it's only part of the formula for success. So let's move on here. Your book talks about recognizing that you have abilities and limitations. What can you tell us about that?
Abilities and limitations. I guess one of the 4 A's, I have 4 A's that I follow, and the first one is acknowledge. And I think we all have to acknowledge and accept certain things in life. And you and I, we've had chats over the years, and I've got to know that you have a great mind for detail. Myself, I don't. So does that make you smarter than me? Or do I have less talent in that area? No, because we were born different and we have different skills. So I think as soon as, I think people like myself, I identify with those skills that I have, take them and run with them, right? And I think that's what I mean by each person is different. And in order to achieve the maximum, you want to identify what are you good at. Like for example, I worked 15 years in the electronic industry, sitting in front of a computer doing programming. It paid very well, but I was starving for social interaction. Now I'm a salesperson. I talk to people every day. That's what I love. That's what I'm good at. So that's what I should be doing. And each person out there should take a personal inventory of who they are and what they really enjoy doing and run with that.
Makes sense to me. I know a man who's about 5 feet 4 inches tall. And he said when he was a kid, he had an ambition to be an NBA basketball player. And at some point he realized that there were physical limitations that were going to prevent him from doing that. But this man was one of the most brilliant computer programmers I've ever met. So it depends where you're going with it. But you also talk about how our lives cycle up and down in your book and how that can impact your effectiveness. What do you mean by that, cycling up and down?
I think that's again a bit of an acknowledgement that life cycles in life is, I like to look at it as almost a polarity. And I don't want to simplify this because there's always exceptions to every rule. But if you look at two states, things are either black or white, or they're positive or negative. They're either up or down. The sun goes up, the sun goes down. You always have it's what they call the law of polarity. So if you believe in that, which you should, because there's lots of proof out there, is that if you wake up this morning and you're not feeling real well, you'll likely have a good day tomorrow. In other words, don't get hung up on things not working out right now, because the cycle says it'll go up. Like right now, we're going through a COVID period, and people think that some people are afraid, the world's coming to an end, but it doesn't. We've been here before. Maybe not the exact same thing has happened, but we've been here before, and we'll get through it and out the other side. And that's what Recharge says, is you think on the high side, because what's the alternative? You roll over and die, sort of thing. So what I mean by cycles is that everything cycles. And so if you lose a sale, the next one will be yours. Things happen that cause a down cycle. But then, I remember that example I gave. I don't know, I'd take too much time on it, but so you walk out of the front door this morning at 8 o'clock on the way to work, and you look over and your car has a flat tire. oh, I'm going to be late for work. Oh, I'm going to miss that meeting. Oh, and your mind starts spinning all because it's a flat tire. But what if you open the door and saw a flat tire? Whew, that flat tire, yeah, it happens. I'm going to phone CAA. In fact, I just bought these at Canadian Tire. Did you know they have a warranty on it? They'll come out and fix it for nothing. Boy, am I ever glad. I'm sure half an hour we'll be up and running again. So you can see, same situation, two different mindsets. And that's where you take a negative situation, run with it, and the next one will be on a high. So life cycles. Yeah.
I like it. I like it. It's a matter of some days things are going to work, and what is the expression? Some days you're the Louisville Slugger, and sometimes you're the Ball.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't heard that one, but it sounds
good. Baseball
good.
Analogy. You also talk in that second chapter about an elevated mindset. And I like this idea of raising your mindset, but can you talk about that a bit?
Yeah, we talk a lot about mindset, and the topic is, what I did in my book is I tried to keep it simple. I tried to roll it out so that everybody could understand. But mindset is very powerful, and if we have what I call a higher mindset, and basically it's the word attitude is often used. Attitude is the combination of your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. And if you understand the diagram or the layout of that, thoughts are number one. Everything starts with a vision. Everything starts, the pen I have, whoever designed this pen had this pen in their mind. Like, I want a pen that looks like this. And then they started picturing it, and then they took it into a position of action and production, and there it is. But it all starts with your mind and your mindset. So if you have a higher mindset, it's a creative mind. This pen would not be created for somebody that says, oh, I'm worried about my financing. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. It's raining out. I'm just so full of anxiety. Where do you have any aspirins? Like that type of mindset is not creative and isn't conducive to bringing energy into a productive state. So if I can say this short and sweet, is that if people realized how much benefit there is in a higher mindset, in a positive mindset, and a productive mindset, they would never be down again. It's just a matter of we're programmed in such a way that sometimes we get into a rut. And I talk later on in the book about that. Our programming is really what's keeping us where we are, and we need to change that. We need to recharge that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answered your question. It's a big one.
It does answer the question. Another idea that I was intrigued by that kind of ties into that is we all have our internal and external challenges that we face in life, and maybe you can continue on your previous thought and just to expand on how that fact ties into recharging your life.
I think what I'd like to say on that point is that our environment is very important on influencing who we are and what we become. Excuse me. And I say that is because I talk about this again in the next couple chapters about where we were born and what we were raised and how we were influenced by that. Simple things like we haven't had any sunshine for a while, and the general population is, oh, I'm really feeling down. The sun's not out. I thought, what does that have to do with you feeling down? Because when you think of it, one's external, but how you feel is internal. So what I'm saying is that acknowledge what's around you, but don't let it affect who you are. I was listening to, I think it's Deepak, and if you close your ears and your eyes and your five senses and you shut them down, all you have is your thoughts. And when you have just your thoughts, you can control what you think. And from that state, you can make massive changes. So be very aware of, and I go into the book a little more about that, is make sure people around you, the external perimeter of where you are, the people, the groups that you associate with, are conducive to where you want to go. And sitting 4 hours in front of the TV every night may not be the smartest decision people make, because you can imagine the programming that that happens there. So there's all kinds of things like that that are exterior that you can't control, but you can certainly filter them out. Whereas internally, you are the kingdom of your mind. Nobody can tell you what to think. Powerful.
That makes a lot of sense. I think it was Eleanor Roosevelt who said, it's not what happens to you, it's how you react to what happens to you that really impacts your life.
Yep.
Just following on that same line of thought, the idea of your mental situation and your mindset, you also talk about mental highs and lows. And what does this mindful recognition of these highs and lows do for you?
I think again, it's acknowledging that it's being aware of the highs and lows, and sometimes things happen to us, and sometimes we behave unconsciously. That's not the word I'm looking for. Not aware of what's happening. I was reading this morning, 70% of our thinking is automatic. We get up, we do this, we brush our teeth, we get dressed, all on automatic pilot. So if you start to become aware of what's going around, then all of a sudden, when you're not feeling real good, you'll be okay. But then you can say, okay, what can I do to lift myself up? I do this when I'm talking to a group of real estate agents, and I use real estate as an example because I know it very well. If I get a call and some from a client and they say, oh, we decided we're going to deal with another agent, I go, oh, I lost that deal. It was going to be $10,000. I was set for life. I don't know what I'm going to do. And so I could sit there and I could let that one phone call wipe out my whole day. I may as well go home, have some supper, lay down, and tomorrow will be a new day. Or if I look at it as, oh, that's another call, I've got 10 more to make. Switch that mindset, bring it up, and you can do that through process instantly. You won't lose your whole day. And that's where I'm saying is be aware of the cycles. And that's why you may have been involved in sales. You've likely heard the expression that when's the best time to make a next sale is right after you've made a sale. In other words, you're going. And that's why they say when the cycle's up, you're feeling good, why would you go home? And so you can't afford to be down as a salesperson. And really, you can't afford to be down as a human being, but life does cycle. And so identify when that cycle goes down. And usually, like I said, in sales, it's when you don't make that sale. Another example I give in my book is how sometimes we create stories. For example, if it was 4 o'clock and your daughter, say she's 10 years old, hasn't come home from school yet, what story are you creating? Oh, she's likely with the teacher doing some extra homework. Oh, she's playing in the playground with her friends. Oh, somebody kidnapped her. Oh, I hope she didn't fall in the river on the way home. And all of a sudden you create a monster in your head if you want to, or you follow it up. In other words, sometimes the unknown we create. I used to tell my son, I said, you have to tell me the truth, because if you don't, I'm going to make something up and it ain't going to be pretty. So you have to be careful of the monsters you create in your mind that are just fabricated because of a negative situation. Yeah.
I hate to refer to another book while talking to you about your book, but a book that I read to my children when they were very small was a Sesame Street book featuring the character Grover. And the title of the book was The Monster at the End of This Book. And Grover spends the entire book agonizing about this terrible monster that's coming at the end of the book. And it turns out the monster at the end of the book was him. And he goes, oh, well, look at that. It was nothing to be afraid. And you were so afraid.
Yeah, you can see that's
book to talk about that. But I wanted, continuing on this theme about your mindset and the highs and lows and the waves that you go through, how can your readers of this book learn about their strengths and weaknesses and what they can do about them? What advice have you got for them?
I think that requires some homework. I think you need to sit down with a pen and paper, and that's something I would do in my workshop. But I would sit down and have people list out, all the things they enjoy doing, and sometimes it starts with what do I do now, and what do I enjoy doing of what I do now, and what do I not like doing what I'm doing now. And so you start out and you start to weed out what you're good at. And you'll often find that what you enjoy doing is what you're good at, and what you don't enjoy doing, you don't put the energy in. So you can see that if you're doing something I fully understand that there's things, pulling weeds in the garden is likely not a joyful task, but the end result is very fulfilling. So there's things that we have to do in order to reach our end goal and feel fulfilled. But generally speaking, is if you don't enjoy doing it, you're not doing your best, you're not doing a good job, and you likely shouldn't be doing it. Or you have to look ahead and have your sights on something that's rewarding enough so that you can do the things you don't enjoy doing and work from there. But certainly that self-assessment, doing a self-survey is vital, and also that brings the awareness. Some people, I took a course one time and the guy says, he says the problem with most people is they don't think. Of course, that sounds very, very brutal, but a lot of people don't. In other words, we're on a treadmill and we run it like a little hamster, and we run. But we don't stop and say and think about what am I doing today, and why am I doing it, and is it necessary, and what would I really like to do? And I'm back to what do you really want out of life?
Yeah.
I just wait there a bit.
I want to tell you about, first of all, to our listeners, we've been talking with Wayne Kuhn about his new book, Recharge, and what he can. Yeah, he's got one too.
Okay.
but you can get one of these books just by going to Amazon and entering in Recharge, and Wayne Kuhn's name is going to come up there. And just press the little buy button on that. But just wanted to refer to this because you said that's going to call for some homework. And I noticed at the end of each of your chapters, you have questions that your reader can write in the book. And I had a friend one time who would, when he had written a book, I asked him if he would autograph it. And he said, I'd be glad to. And he flips through the book and he says, this book is practically new. I said, I've had it for about a year. I've read it about 5 times. Well, he says, how come there are no notes in it? I said, I didn't want to ruin the book by writing in it. And he says, look, if your book is too good to ruin by writing in it, I recommend you throw it away and buy another one that's not so good.
That's good. That's good. If I can add a note to that, you'll even see my book has little tabs in it because I I reread it because it affirms what I believe. But yeah, I did put some questions in the back because sometimes people will read through a book like this and lay it down, and there it is. And in order to get the most out of this book, I think it requires thought. This book was written to help to inspire you to think about your own life. And I put in, there's a bit of a diagram, I don't know if you can see it's backwards, about the cycle and what recharge does. And try to unravel that and just inspire
Thank
thoughts.
you very much for giving us your insights, Wayne. We'll be back again tomorrow to talk about chapter 3. There's more to come, folks. Don't miss a single day of this. You're going to love it. Have a great day. Thank you, Wayne.